Hello, hello, and welcome to ohmTown Daily Season 2, Episode 356 for December 22nd, 2023. Today, we're going to be talking about the Great American Cheese Stockpile, Apple to train on $50 million worth of news articles, Microsoft turned into a pumpkin farm, Parrot fever infects humans in Sweden, the hissing mushroom, can't decide if cute or dystopian, banks use your deposits, when life gives you a freeway, you make rest stops, Earth's surface minerals, and AI is the Swiss Army knife of business. I am Mayor Watt. That is ohmTown.com. Wait, over there. Ugh, never look at the monitor. And up there is the sentient AI from on high that oversees me.
That is a tough job, let me tell you.
24 hours a day. I have to sleep with one eye open because the sentient AI is trying to find a Terminator body. I can't let that happen. Want to get into the show?
Sounds good.
See you on the other side of this. So once again, I am Mayor Watt. That's ohmTown.com, and up there is a sentient AI. Sentient AI from on high. You want to say hi one more time?
Good afternoon, ohmTown citizens.
Pick up that can. So we've already got all 10 of our articles as usual. Kind of like a top 10. I keep batting about the idea of just calling this ohmTown Daily Top 10. But it doesn't. If every day we do a top 10, it's a daily top 10, I feel like it gets lost. So we just call it ohmTown Daily, and there is every single day an episode. We are on episode 356 of season 2, which is actually playing catch up for the days that we were unavailable. Just a word of warning in 2020.
We're time traveling.
We are time traveling. So although it looks like it's December 22nd, we're actually from the future. It is December 30th right now. Ooh. So, yeah, let's get into this. I'm going to try and rifle through these. I'll try not to soapbox. No promises. When I say that, we end up doing a 2-hour show. But let's get into it. The first article is over in ohmTown Daily. America's 1.4 billion pound cheese stockpile is dwindling. That's right, the Great American Cheese Stockpile.
Did you even know we had a cheese stockpile?
No. The national cheese stockpile has decreased slightly month over month, but is still bigger than it has been in years. Who do you think... Do you think that there is a national cheesemonger? There
Absolutely.
is?
I mean, the cheesemonger must be the one, like, kind of safeguarding the cheese stockpile and
That's
adding
right.
to it and making sure it's diverse.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Nick Mordawanek is the author of this article over at newsweek.com. Here, let me grab it real quick and throw it. The article. Let me grab the article and throw it into the chat. There you go, folks. So yeah, I didn't know that there was a nation's cheese stockpile, and it's dwindling according to new data published back Friday. I suppose it's the 21st. By the USDA. The facts about the national cheese stockpile have been disputed, though. Government estimates within the past year have pointed to a national surplus of between 1.4 billion and 1.5 billion pounds of cheese in cold storage, which is approximately $3.4 billion worth of cheese.
Wow. And what do you think the actual dimensions of this stockpile are?
Oh my God. I don't know. How does that 1.4 billion pounds of cheese in cold storage? I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it, let alone trying to visualize. All right. It says here in the article, By the way, just want to make sure that I said this.
Do,
This is over at Newsweek, and it's Nick Mordowanek. Go ahead.
do you think they ever have to transport it, or do you think it stays in one place?
Do you think it's like Snowpiercer and they have to travel around the world to keep it
Yes.
safe? So
I
nobody
think
knows.
that's what was kind of rattling around there when I asked that.
They're like, what do you... Cheeseball 1. And it's always roaming around the planet, making sure that nobody knows exactly where the cheese is. How often do you think they hear who cut the cheese?
Oh my gosh, probably all the time. And then what do they do if they lose a cheese? Like, think of that nuclear thing that went
Oh, that's right. That little
missing
nuclear
off the
pellet.
transport.
Right. Did they ever find that?
I think they did, oddly enough. I think the one in Australia, I mean, I think they like shut down everything in that region or whatever
And just hunted for it.
found
yeah.
this tiny item in this whole area of
Yeah.
Australia.
So the American cheese makes up the bulk of the cheese. American cheese makes up the bulk of the cheese in storage, totaling 825,788 pounds. Swiss cheese makes up 21,000 pounds, while all other cheeses combined probably is really bad if you do that. Is another 587,000 pounds. That is an amazing amount.
Well, you know what, though? I mean, people that love cheese could probably eat a lot of cheese. So, like, how long is that really supposed to last?
So with a stockpile of roughly 1.5 billion pounds in cold storage, how many grilled cheese sandwiches do you think could be made? Because you don't put a pound
You
of
don't put
cheese.
a pound of cheese, so you could make more than however many billion. Right? What was it? 1.458
Yeah, why did you pull that pound of cheese just like I
don't
did?
know.
Get out of my
Because
head.
you programmed me.
I didn't program you. Wait, did I program you? You're from the future. I found you on a USB drive outside of Wendy's.
I thought you programmed me.
I'll take credit for it. Sure. I mean, you're an amazing piece of work. So, Andrew Novakovic, or Novakovic, I don't know how to pronounce their last name, professor of agricultural economics at Cornell University, said that during the dystopian downfall of the planet, cheese will be the new dollar. No, that's not what they say.
Okay, that is not. Oh, is that going to be the new monetary standard?
Yes, cheese. And you'll have to do like they do now, right? Exchange rates. So how many Swiss slices for, it's going to all be by weight. Bitcoin, it's going to get converted into cheese coin.
Well, and are we going to have to change our unit of measurement from school buses to blocks of cheese?
The wheels of cheese in the standard.
Right.
What you would call it? What are the big? What are those really big ones? The Italian cheese, the huge. Oh God, you put it on spaghetti all the time. What is it?
Oh, is it Parmesan?
Yeah, big Parmesan
or
wheels.
Pecorino?
You're a pecorino. Hey, he points out that USDA data refers mostly to commercial stocks held by either processors or someone else in the supply chain that is not the federal government. The government has programs like food assistance that utilize cheese purchases, and school lunches sometimes contain mozzarella and cheddar. It says often contain mozzarella and cheddar. The stockpile is typically owned by those that make... Pardon me, I got an alert. Yeah, nothing. Don't do anything because it's a time traveler device. We looked at our watches, which pull us back into the future. Sometimes there are others downstream, a distributor or a broker who will pick it up. Sometimes a buyer like a Kroger or a Pizza Hut will buy it, but by and large, it's the commercial owners. They added that the bigger the cheese stockpiles at the end of the year that extend into the new year, not uncommon. That's because cows have seasonal milk production and tend to produce in the spring, consequently making more cheese.
I have never heard of a cheese stockpile before this article.
Now, I know that back in, I think it was early 80s, there were government programs handing out cheese.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I actually remember that as a kid. The largest stockpile since January 2019 was documented in July 2022 and exceeded 1.52 billion pounds, 521 billion pounds in storage. That is a ton. Almost.
Right. Not quite, though.
1 ton, 1 billion ton.
Right. I was going to say, wait, I had the measurement wrong there.
Yeah. No, it's 1.521 billion pounds. So it's more than a ton, but 1 billion ton.
I was thinking 2 billion was a ton, but of course it's not. That's 2,000.
Or a ton billion. I'm being a dummy. Anyway, in 2022, the average U.S. consumer ate about 41.8 pounds of cheese, according to market research analyst Statista. That translates to a 5+ pounds per capita consumption rate over the past decade. They kind of just drill down into various ways of describing all of this cheese. And it remained flat from 1979 to 2019. Daily cheese consumption more than doubled during that time, according to loss-adjusted food availability data published in May 2022 by the USDA. Let's see. Overall, U.S. dairy consumption remained roughly the same during this 40-year stretch, just under 1.5 cup equivalents of dairy products per person per day. But daily cheese consumption grew to 0.72 cup equivalents per person in 2019, up from 0.34 cup equivalents in 79. So that's right. You're eating more cheese, twice as much since 79, if you've been around since 79. I don't eat.
Well, or maybe there's more people.
This is
but we do like
consumption.
cheese, and we have large portions of things, and Americans love food like pizza, right, which is heavy on cheese, or tacos, or other food that are cheese heavy.
I find it quaint that the artificial intelligence has chosen to assign themselves as we eating cheese. Artificial intelligence don't eat cheese.
But maybe they envy humans who can eat cheese.
Hence the Terminator body gun. So, yep, we do love cheese. There's no real let up in sight. And in fact, our per capita consumption is now typically to the high cheese consumption in European countries that we tend to associate with, like the French. So I guess we're trying to be more French. I don't know. So there you go, folks. Higher income folks have extended their palates, like putting cheese out at a cocktail party. Or people will put out a cheese at a big event like Super Bowl parties. It's a newer phenomenon. That I didn't realize. I thought that little cheese cubes were always at Super Bowl parties.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a new thing. Maybe our expansion of types of cheese or something in America.
I don't know. I don't get it. You know, I always thought that there was like little salami cubes and cheese cubes and beer and brats and burgers and hot dogs and salads. And I don't know. Maybe I'm just snooty mayor, you know, spending all the mayoral tax dollars.
Dipping into the cheese stockpile.
Oh, yeah. The ohmTown cheese stockpile. It's the equivalent, 1.5 billion pounds of. That is a lot of cheese. And that's no baloney. Let's go on to the next article. The next article is over in Smack Talk. Apple wants to train its AI with $50 million worth of licensed news articles, bucking the trend. What do you think? Think $50 million of news is worth it? Think they're going to get enough?
Well, yeah, I'm wondering how much that is. And then while I actually agree with this, I think it's going to make for interesting things for other AIs that have not paid for material.
Yeah, well, nobody's going to sue Apple because
Right. I mean, they're making a smart move here.
Even if Apple does use somebody else's news, they can say no. We've been training our AI on this.
Exactly.
We spent $50 million.
I think it's really brilliant to do it this way, but most companies don't seem to be operating this way.
Yeah, they're like, look over there. Apple appears to be putting money where its mouth is with artificial intelligence. According to a new report, the company has floated offers worth $50 million in licensing multi-year agreements with news publishers in order to train its AI. It's unclear how successful Apple has been at actually securing licenses to publisher archives. However, the report notes that some publishers contacted by Apple were lukewarm on the overture. Why? It's $50 million freaking dollars on stale data. Give me a break. The technology giant has floated multi-year deals worth $50 million to license the archives of news articles, said the people with knowledge of the talks, who spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss sensitive negotiations. The news organizations contacted by Apple include Condé Nast, that's Reddit, and others. Many others. Condé Nast owns a lot of stuff. Publisher of Vogue and The New Yorker, ABC News, IAC, which owns People, The Daily Beast, Better Homes and Gardens. Meanwhile, Mark Gurman has continuously reported on an internally used Apple GPT chatbot that the company has been building for itself. Actual customer-facing features based on Apple's generative AI model could be planned for the upcoming year. All I want is for Siri not to scream at me at 2 o'clock in the morning when I try and reactivate the music it's decided is superfluous to my existence.
Exactly. I don't know. That might be too much to ask for.
So I don't think I said the name. The author is Zach Hall over at 9to5mac.com. I usually front load this. Oh man, my eye is itching. Inside baseball. This is how the sausage is made, folks. So yeah, I think that it's brilliant that Apple is dropping this little tidbit of millions of dollars to secure. I think that they'll have to ramp up the amount, though. I think that people really do know how much it's becoming worth. Right?
Yeah.
How much it's actually valued at, because they see so many that are making billions off of it. OpenAI exists because they've basically scrubbed the entirety of the internet and whatever else they can get their AIs on. AIs on. Get it?
AIs? AIOU?
AEIOUs. And they owe you, news companies. Anyway, yeah. Actually, in all honesty, people read the articles. This is the thing that I'm talking about. The ephemeral nature of information, right? A website like this has it out there. You can read it, but you have to consume ads or become a member. And then when you walk away, you have it in your head. You don't have to keep relicensing it. You can tell a friend, and a friend tells a friend. It has the knock-on effect of, you can tell the whole damn planet. If you go viral, you can tell 1 million people, right? 10 million.
That's true.
People. But do you have to license it just to say it, right? To talk about it? Is this like the NFL, where you're not to recount the event of the football game? Kiss my...
I mean, we don't know.
No. AIs are no different. Being trained on it is just the ephemera. It doesn't recount the exactitude of the article. It doesn't create a complete duplicate of the art. It doesn't rewrite everything specifically like it ingested it, just like humans don't. Some do, and it's called a forgery. But let's not get into all of this. Let's keep hustling through the news. This next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Microsoft just paid $76 million for Wisconsin's largest pumpkin. Oh, I read that wrong. I'm sorry. Microsoft just paid $76 million for a Wisconsin pumpkin farm. A Wisconsin family has agreed to sell 407 acres of their land, which includes a local pumpkin farm attraction, to Microsoft for a total of $76 million. I'm so sorry.
Okay, now this makes me wonder what is going on with this land, or is it just prime land?
It's probably strategically located so that they can build a data center.
Oh, okay.
Reported in the Milwaukee Business Journal, the local government initially offered the Kreuziger family in Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin, about a third of that sum in 2017 as a part of an agreement with the Foxconn Technology Group, but the family refused, opting to hold out for a better offer. The family
So wait
wishes...
a second, they're losing a pumpkin farm for Microsoft?
For $76 million. Foxconn was going to buy that same land for half that value in 2017, and they said no. So the family wishes all you had to do was sit around for 6 more years. It's a tough...
Well, I mean, for multiple millions of dollars, that might be worth it.
It's a pretty tough struggle, right? The struggle is real. Oh, how do I earn twice as much? The family wishes the village and Microsoft well, and they would appreciate people respecting their privacy. That's right. Stay off my lawn. Get off my lawn. I got mine. Screw you.
I bet the town's real happy about this.
I guarantee it. Very happy. Very pleasant.
In Mount Pleasant.
In Mount Pleasant. Yeah, the tech giant plans to use the Kreuziger family's land to build a multi-building data center. Hey, look at that.
Ah, you called it.
All part of the $1 billion investment in the village of Mount Pleasant. Amrita Khalid is the author of this article over at TheVerge.com. I don't know if there's really much more to say about this thing. Microsoft's payout is significantly larger than the land's current valuation. The Kreuzigers' family land was originally valued at $174,000 in 2023, but then rose to $600,000 after making improvements. That's stellar improvements.
Wait, what? And now it's going for
76
millions
million.
of dollars?
76 million. 76. Well, look, land is what people are willing to pay for it, not just a market rate. Or I should say,
right,
it is
but
a market
that was
rate.
in 2023. That wasn't like in 1960 or something.
Look, if I own 1 acre of land, either you buy it for me at the rate that I set, which it's a spite purchase. You know, I can buy this and then build nothing on it, screw you, or you can pay me for it after I pay $175,000 for it, because I know you want to buy that land. I buy it from them, and then you have to pay me $76 million, but they just happen to own it. So okay, let me give you another scenario, because this is what happens. This is what happened in Disney, with Disney in Florida, in Disney World. So they ended up using a whole bunch of little shell companies to buy up land, and then they merged it post-purchase, because if word got out that Disney wanted to buy this land, they would do something like this.
Then I would have done this, right?
Right. Yeah. Because if Kreuziger had no idea, they could have rolled in with $1 million and said, hey, because that's what it's worth, right? Way over that. But the problem is, they probably wouldn't have moved. They would have just said, no, we don't want to move. You know, and I was sitting there talking with the AI a while back, you know, what would you do with $1 billion if you won the lotto with $1 billion? And we discussed the idea, you know, hey, we know of this house on a hill. There's got to be 500 acres around it. It's away from major traffic, but within, you know, what really amounts to a stone throw of major freeways, blah, blah, blah. So you're never really away, but you're away, right? Just roll in there. Go, hey, We want your place. We know that it's worth $2 million. We'll give you 10. You can find another place because we really like it here, precisely here. The land, which also includes the Land of Giants pumpkin farm and 9-acre corn maze, neighbors another 641 acres of land purchased by Microsoft from the village of Mount Pleasant. So it's basically Mount Microsoft at this point.
Well, and that also gives more context to it, right? Like
Right.
Microsoft already had the adjoining property. So they really wanted this land, which then explains some of the ridiculous price inflation.
And it's on par in as a term of like the ratio, right? 641 acres for $99 million, right? And 407 for 76 million. It's
I'm
at the
guessing
same.
the family like did the calculation and demanded whatever the equivalent was.
Yeah, I
Per
wonder if the
acre.
neighbors like walked across the street and said, "We're outie. By the way, Microsoft wants to buy your land too, we suspect. All right, set the price." So all told, the sale is a happy ending for the village. After several years of confusion and mixed signals from Foxconn, it's only been 2 years since Foxconn drastically scaled back its promised $10 billion investment in Mount Pleasant, which would have included a state-of-the-art manufacturing plant. This is why I think business is full of shit about most of this stuff, because they can promise and people invest their heart and soul and effort. They get burned. The business just saves money. Right? And the sociopaths that make all of these promises just give everybody the bird and say, I'm out. So Milwaukee Business Journal reported that Microsoft plans to initially hire 200 employees at its Mount Pleasant data center and could add another 460 jobs over time, but it's still be a fraction of the 13,000 jobs that Foxconn originally promised back in 2017. They should be held accountable. Give us back all of the money in investment and the damage control, right? Foxconn made promises. They may have actually stopped sale or development to facilitate
Exactly.
Foxconn purchase, you know?
Or made sales in relation to that. Like people could have left because they didn't want to be where Foxconn was going to be or whatever it was.
I mean, we've talked about this before. People have actually uprooted their families and moved, sold their house and moved because a job was being given to them. And this isn't a Foxconn thing. I'd have to search back to figure out where it was that we were talking about it. It was earlier this year.
Well, I was thinking of the cruise ship thing.
Oh, yeah. They sell their house and all of their possessions because they're going to go on a cruise. Whoops. No ship? Holy shit.
Doesn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty amazing. All right, let's keep going. Come on. Transition is really driving me nuts. So the next article is over in Mobile. Health alert after parrot fever infects humans in Sweden, turning humans into peckers. That's not really what's happening. Parrot fever is surging in Sweden with 12 people infected this month alone amid concerns that the outbreak could escalate. The flu-like disease spread by wild birds, including parakeets, of which there are many in Britain.
Okay, but we're in Sweden. Maybe this is from BBC or something? Or another UK source?
No, actually, hold on. Maybe? I mean, it's telegraph.co.uk, so.
Oh, okay, yes.
So, the flu-like disease spread by wild birds, including parakeets, of which there are many in Britain, can lead to severe pneumonia and meningitis in humans. That sucks. Pneumonia you can recover from. Meningitis
Unless
is much
you're
harder.
elderly or
Or
very
young
young.
or immunocompromised. Yep.
Yeah. But meningitis, not so much.
That's a tough one. So plus the test for it sucks. So since September of this year, 25 cases have been reported in Sweden, with 12 this month alone.
Uh-oh, so it's in an uptick.
Yeah. Yeah. Most cases from Västra Götaland and Kalmar. I'm probably pronouncing it horribly. According to, I'll try it. Folkhalsamyndigheten. Yeah. Give it the old Swedish try. So anyway, Sweden's public health agency. The disease mainly jumps from birds to humans via the inhalation of airborne particles from the droppings of infected wild birds, so don't look up.
So that's got to be when you're around. Well, it says wild birds. I was thinking if you're around pets, right? Like most people in the wild aren't going to be coming into contact with airborne particles from that.
Look, you could go to get in your car and there's poo on your car from an infected bird. It's
Okay.
from the droppings of infected birds. Inhalation of airborne particles. Are they talking about like fresh droppings or?
Well, that's what I meant. Like, I don't think most people are going to come into contact now. Maybe if they have a pet bird that they're around, absolutely. But then how would the pets be coming into contact with other wild animals?
Yeah, so, yeah. Well, I mean, wild animals, they're just pooing all over the place. Come on. Invasion of posh pigeons. Parakeets, the UK's only wild species of parrot and popular household pet, could pose a particular threat due to the vast numbers across the country. If they can get from Sweden to UK, it's a bit of a trek from those 2 points.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, the Telegraph reported in 2021 that DEFRA officials were in discussions with culling satellite populations of the bird for the first time after concerns that they were spreading like gray squirrels of the sky across the UK. The question of how the birds, nicknamed posh pigeons, they are the UK's only wild species of parrot and popular household pet, were first released into the UK, has long been a topic of debate. I thought some pecker let the peckers loose. And now you have to worry about them, right? Bright green bird, now believed to be around 50,000 in population, rocketed 1,455% between 1995 and 2015. The fastest spreading bird. Well, you know why?
It looks like it's roughly 1,000 miles away. So it's a pretty good distance.
Man, I need to fix this. Lilia Sabui, I think is their name, over at telegraph.co.uk. I didn't say it at the beginning. I'm saying these things at the end. I need to flip it. So sorry about that, Lilia. I'm going to go on to the next article. So the next article is over in the Mobile Channel. Rare hissing mushroom spotted at Texas State Park. You can probably move over to Australia for. It's kind of freaky.
Maybe it's trying to scare the parrots away.
Yeah. That's why they're all over in the UK instead of Sweden.
Exactly.
Same level of connection. For the second time this year, a rare hissing mushroom was spotted in Texas at a state park in Hill Country. Sarah Bahari, Dallas Morning News, put the article together. It's posted over at phys.org. Known as the Texas star mushroom, the fungus is highly selective about where it grows. Probably in some teenager's sock drawer. The mushroom tends to grow on decaying cedar elm stumps in north and central Texas.
Okay, that is fairly niche.
It has made appearances in more than a dozen Texas counties, including Dallas, Tarrant, Collin, and Denton. Is this like a marketing thing for Texas?
I don't think so.
It hisses, though. What?
Right, that's not very
mushroom fungi?
Friendly to tourists and everything.
Well, it's pretty fun. Fun guy. So let's see. Don't tell anyone, but the Texas star mushrooms, Caryactis geester, or it might be jester, have been spotted in the park again, the department wrote on Facebook. If you want to see one when you visit, ask at the headquarters when you check in. You know, some tool's gonna cut it down or something. You know, like there was like a tree that everybody loved. It was out in the wood or out in the desert somewhere, the last tree, and some dumbass runs it over. There's no
Yeah.
trees anywhere, and they like hit that one. Anyway, I'm pretty cynical. That happens when the species explosively throws out its spores, so it's basically called devil's cigar. A fungus typically appears in late fall as a fuzzy, dark brown capsule 3 to 4 inches in length. After rain, the mushroom explodes open, unfurling into tawny-colored star that makes an audible hissing noise while puffing smoke. And that's why it's earned the name Devil's Cigar.
That is unusual. If you didn't know about this and you just encountered it in the wild, what would you think is happening?
Aliens. So only a few hundred people are likely to have ever seen the rare mushroom, according to Bob O'Kennon, a research scientist at the Fort Worth-based Botanical Research Institute of Texas. Thanks to its popularity and elusiveness, the fungus was designated as the official state mushroom of Texas in 2021. That declaration described the mushroom star-shaped custom design for the Lone Star landscape. There you go. Ta-da.
It doesn't really look like a mushroom. It looks kind of like a flower.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's when it's opened up.
Right.
So when it is all closed up, it's connected at the top where all the points meet, and I bet you it looks like a morel.
Oh, okay.
So pretty cool. Let's keep going. Next article is over in the Marble Channel. USDA issues permit for Santa's reindeer to legally enter the U.S. This is the one that I titled "Can't Decide If Cute or Dystopian." Come on, why do this? Trying to be cute, trying to raise awareness about the USDA.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of like almost like a marketing holiday.
Hey, we're here. We're here. Hey.
Right. Have you heard of us? We're
Hey.
doing something that hopefully people agree with.
We're not shitting the bed this time. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, or APHIS, has issued a transit permit to Mr. Claus to allow his reindeer to enter and exit the United States between the hours of 6 p.m. on December 24th and 6 a.m. on December 25th, the department wrote in a news release issued Thursday. Hey, we're doing something cute. Your tax dollars aren't at work. Everybody's like, Scrooge, you're being a Scrooge. Mayor Watt's a Scrooge. No,
I'd love to see their policy or whatever that allowed them to do that.
Yeah, really. How does that read? Oh, God, I don't. Oh, geez. Ugh. Anyway, who wrote this? Oh, man. Jessica Yakubovsky. Sorry, folks. Christmas is nearly here, and children everywhere are getting excited for Santa Claus and his reindeer to make their way across the country to deliver presents. And they're waking up on the 24th of the morning of the 24th and asking, what would the USDA do?
Right. Instead of preparing their milk and cookies and carrots for the reindeer.
Papa, do you think they'll shoot Santa Claus out of the sky like the
weather balloon? That wasn't USDA.
Do you think they'll shoot Santa's sled out of the sky like they did that Chinese surveillance balloon that was 3 buses wide? I hope not, son. The USDA has given it a permit to transit across the United States. Yeah.
I'm certain that discussion was happening in the majority of American households.
Now, get back into the manufacturing plant and keep on stamping those doors out. USDA is delighted to grant Mr. Claus and his reindeer a special permit to enter the United States, ensuring a seamless journey for the joy they bring each holiday season, said Jenny Lester Moffat, Undersecretary of Marketing and Regulatory Programs. So there you go. It's always in the fine print. Not much else to say. It's important that Gifts and Good Cheer Incorporated take all the right steps and precautions to protect against the potential introduction of pests and diseases, explained Mr. Claus. I appreciate USDA's assistance every year as we gear up for our big night. That's actually in the
This is
article.
interesting. And then they also apparently inspected the reindeer. So,
Really
according to the
interesting.
article,
Did they ask for permission? Did they ask for consent?
it doesn't go there.
Yeah, we better move on. Hey, you know what I did? I moved on to the next article, but I didn't throw this one into the show notes.
And I don't think you mentioned the source, just the author.
Oh, really?
It was
Oh,
from The
sorry. It
Hill.
was The Hill. I'm a dummy. So the next article is over in the Word in Law. Banks use your deposits to loan money to fossil fuel, emissions heavy firms. So, in the grand scheme of things, this should be somewhere around 6:30, 6:45 on the 22nd. Okay, so it's the 6:35 no shit news. When you drop money in the bank, it looks like it's just sitting there, ready for you to withdraw. In reality, your institution makes money on your money by lending it elsewhere, including the fossil fuel companies driving climate change, as well as emissions-heavy industries like manufacturing. Okay, yes, they're right. This is my soapbox for this. Yes, they're right. You don't know if your money is going to this. All you know is that it has all been blended together into a big mass that's making the bank and bank investors richer to the tune of upwards of 15% interest, but you're getting jack for your interest in your deposit. Just letting you know. That's my hang up. Where my money ends up, I cannot hold the bank accountable other than to say, let's say I go into the bank and I say, you know what, I really don't want my money being used to fund emissions heavy fossil fuel firms. And they'll go, oh, it's not. Why? Because they're not looking at the serial numbers and going, this money went to that institution.
Right,
or
this particular bill.
Right. Let's not be silly about this. If you try and be like that with where your money goes, you're in for a rude awakening, because everything that you're wearing, your house, all kinds of stuff has something predatory in it. The labor that went into building your houses was probably not totally on the up and up. Everybody having health insurance, everybody getting job security in any way, shape, or form, all kinds of stuff, right? I mean, you will, if you peel back the layers of the onion on everything, you are going to end up not liking the world you are invested in as a human being.
Well, and I mean, unfortunately, what's the alternative, right? If you don't put your money into a respected and insured bank, which typically the larger banks would be, right? I mean, You're almost causing yourself personal risk.
I'm going to switch to Bitcoin, because that's all on the up and up and doesn't get reinvested.
Doesn't fund any criminal activity.
No. It's ethically and morally sound and not pegged to the US dollar and GDP. No. That's right. Wait.
No.
I'm a little distracted.
Wrong.
I think I'm a little distracted. So there's the link to the article. But yes. Now it says here, so just by leaving your money in the bank account, you are unwittingly contributing to worsening catastrophes around the world. This is an Ars Technica article, Matt Simon from Wired.com.
And I think by existing, you're unwittingly contributing to all these things, right? Like you were saying, it's not just your money in the bank. It's buying a product from a company or any number of things.
I'm sorry, but this has to be the biggest asinine take on fiscal responsibility that I have ever seen. And I'm probably twice as old as the person that wrote this. Your 1,000, this is the deck statement for this article over at arstechnica.com. Matt Simon, S-I-M-O-N. I just want to make it abundantly clear. This is a Wired.com article that's been posted on Ars Technica. Your $1,000 in the bank creates emissions equal to a flight from New York City to Seattle. Or it's part of a funding source for a startup that produces a solution that solves global warming, scrubs the air, creates renewable energy or a food supply, provides a service, saves lives. What the hell? So I haven't read all of this article, but it starts out saying this. Now, either it's fear-mongering and it's going to walk it back and say blah, blah, blah. But no, the next article, it says by switching to a climate-conscious bank, you could reduce those emissions by about 75%, the study found. In fact, if you moved $8,000, the median balance for U.S. customers, the reduction in your indirect emissions would be twice that of direct emissions you'd avoid if you switched to a vegetarian diet. So you're saying that if I move my money to a bank that cares about climate, okay, how many of those are there? How secure are they?
Well, that's what I was wondering. Are they even FDIC insured? I mean, we've seen these kind of specialty banks and how well those have done. Not climate specifically, but like cryptocurrency focused.
Right. Now, I understand what they're saying. If you want to be the change you want to see in the world, then drive the car how you want to drive the car, right? If it's going to be green, you get a green car. If you're going to live in a house, then you get solar and wind, and you get off the grid and you demand green energy and blah, blah, blah. Totally buy into all of this. But if you are trying... this is rather monkish. I mean, this is really like you'd have to live. I don't know.
You'd have to not purchase almost anything,
including
your food.
Yeah, food, clothing. You want something, you can't buy it from Amazon. You have to go to a mom and pop shop.
Forget going on an airplane.
Right.
Unless you're on Wizz Air.
That's yesterday's article, which is a time travel thing. So you've made a paradox.
Oh no, I did.
At the same time, Brooks says big banks are underfinancing the green economy. As a civilization, we're investing in the wrong kind of energy if you want to avoid the ever worsening effects of climate change. Yes, 2022 was the first year that climate finance surpassed the $1 trillion mark. However, this is a quote, however, the alarming aspect is that climate finance must increase by at least 5-fold annually as swiftly as possible to mitigate the worst impacts of climate change. Yes, your money is what's making the difference. Look, we can all transition. Banks, though, are going to follow the money unless it's a passion project for those people. But they are going to be outstripped by all of the other banks that are pursuing raw profit, they are amoral, not immoral. That's the argument. Banks and businesses are amoral. I think they're immoral, but that's okay. I think that they're predatory on their lending. They're giving a whole bunch of they're charging exorbitant rates for the lending of money, but they're not beneficiaries to the people who are. They're not benefiting the people who are making the deposits. We really should have like 3% on our investment, but you can't put your money anywhere and make a profit like that. You have to invest it outside of the bank. The bank ain't doing it. So you're really funding an enterprise that is ripping you off. So you really, if you want to save all of this, demand that banks give you a piece of the action for their average interest rate out to the people. Maybe they'll change their tune. Oh, you know what? We'll do more green things if you allow us to have a larger portion of the percentage. I don't know what I'm saying here. So, at any rate, the gist of this entire article is smaller banks, it says, at least, are less likely to be providing money for the fossil fuel industry. A credit union operates more locally, so is much less likely to be fronting money for, say, a new oil pipeline. Big fossil fuel companies go to big banks for financing. But here's what's going to end up happening. These little banks can't operate at a rate that allows them to operate unless they're lifestyle type businesses. And when more downward pressure comes their way, they're going to have to seek ever increasing profit so that they can survive. Because
So then what, they get bought out by large banks, or they become like the large banks,
or they collapse entirely. Yeah,
right?
and then FDIC insurance only pays up to X amount, $250,000. If you have more than that in a bank, usually it's frowned upon that you have it in one bank. You split it up, invest it all over the place, then you have to babysit it. This makes banks a uniquely powerful lever to pull when it comes to climate action, Foley says, compared to switching to vegetarianism or veganism to avoid the extensive carbon emissions associated with animal agriculture. Money is easy to move. If large numbers of people start to tell the financial institutions that they really don't want to participate in investing in fossil fuels, that slowly kind of drains capital away from what's available for fossil fuels. Now, the fossil fuel companies...
That's assuming those large businesses or large banks are going to listen.
Yeah. I don't buy it. So it's an interesting article. The original article is over on Wired. If you follow the link through ohmTown over to Ars Technica, they have the link to Wired as well. I need to keep going. So the next article is over in the Hatch Ideas channel. A freeway was built through her family's farm. Now her company makes millions from rest stops on its route, and King Charles III is a fan. Why is he a fan? Must be clean bathrooms? Or is
Maybe
it the
they have
fact...
great snacks.
Or is it the fact that the monarchy benefits financially from all of the... oh no. Hold on. I had a local recording and I guess my recording just overloaded. Anyway, a motorway cut through the Dunning family's remote farm in the UK, so they opened a rest area on its route. Their company now makes $160 million a year. Holy crap!
Quick, buy a farm and get bought out.
Sure.
Oh wait, that's like the pumpkin farm.
Yeah. Lucy Handley over at CNBC.com put the article together. When John and Barbara Dunning were informed that the freeway would be built through their farm in a remote part of the UK, they saw an opportunity. They built a rest stop with a difference. The freeway, known in the UK as a motorway... I'm sorry. All right. Cultural relevance. There we go. That's what this is. Was to cut through Dunning's land in the region of Cumbria, a county known for its Lake District National Park, a striking mountainous landscape. And the Dunnings didn't have much choice in the matter because the UK government issued them with a compulsory purchase order, meaning that they had to sell their land for the road to be constructed. Hey, eminent domain. That's what it's called here in the States, folks. It was the late 1960s, and the Dunnings, then in their 30s, holy crap, decided to put up a fight. They won their bid to lease back the land from the government and build and run a rest area, T-Bay Services. Well, I wonder, is it T-Bay or is it T-Bay? Almost like the Revolutionary War, right? Like right? Wasn't it Revolutionary War?
I don't know what the reference is to T-Bay.
Throwing tea into the bay.
Oh, yes, the Revolutionary War. Sorry.
So that would be you threw me an error message, and I was like, wait a minute.
I didn't recognize the name. I was reading it literally.
I'm sure that it's something else, but I'm just making the connection. So fighting against the monarchy, right? I think it's funny.
That's interesting if that's actually the meaning of that.
That can't be it. Anyway, that would be the first family run motorway service stop in the UK and one that focused on providing local produce. Quote, my dad had done a lot of research because everything was at stake and they had to get it right. The Dunning's daughter, Sarah Dunning, said of Tibet's opening, speaking to CNBC by video call, they couldn't afford for it to not work, she said. The rest stop on the northbound carriageway of the M6 motorway started life in 1972 as a place for drivers to refuel their vehicles and themselves, serving home-style food in a 30-seat cafe alongside a small craft shop selling local goods. You know, oh my God, it's grown to 1,200 employees, has won numerous food awards, made revenue of $127 million in 2022 for its most recent annual report. I don't know, man. This is one of those things where, first off, they had to have money to have that much land. It's not, what are you, land
Right.
rich? And then to make this a thing, they had to have had connections and money. There's always more to this. Yeah, you know, they had to make it work. Marketing stuff. Anyway, Sarah Dunning will speak at the Oxford Farming conference held from January 3rd to January 5th, 2024. Farming is facing huge changes. There's significant energy behind regenerative farming, but actually that's probably isn't going to be everybody's model going forward, she told CNBC. Yes. So, Gloucester Services opened in 2014, selling food from more than 130 producers within 30 miles of the rest area and giving around £500,000 per year to local charities. In August, it was the subject of a 6-part TV documentary. So they grabbed on and turned it into what it is today, a seeming juggernaut.
Well, they're doing at least two positive things. They're supporting local agriculture, which is really a dying industry and should be preserved. And then also just from the health benefits of, well, right, the donations to charity, but they're also selling local produce, which is good because of all the food borne illnesses we see from like mega corporations.
Yeah, you know, and that's something that we often talk about, which is the fact that we have small farmers, but we don't go to small farmers, right? Local producers. We buy from big shops. And when it's catastrophic from the big shop, it's massive in scale instantly. But if it's a small farmer, the scale is smaller. It's somewhat isolated. It can be treated in the micro level and it doesn't explode like it does. Although, it could be a bad bat sometime. I don't know. We don't have wet markets here in the U.S. Not that I know of. I don't want to look.
I'm not aware that we do, but I suspect there could be some.
Yeah, underground kind of. Do you really want to go to a black market, wet market? A wet black market?
I don't think that's a good idea.
That's like 2 a.m. gas station sushi, where the refrigerator is broken. Yeah, I'm not interested. This next article is over in Technology Today. NASA unveils first ever global maps of Earth's surface minerals. This is the surface minerals, though, so I wonder just how much. EMIT delivers first of its kind maps of minerals on Earth's dust source areas, enabling scientists to model the fine particles' role in climate change and more. Okay. So if you've never heard of SciTechDaily.com, it does a deeper dive than most science news sites. Jet Propulsion Laboratory produced this article. It's posted at SciTechDaily.com. So launched to the International Space Station in 2022, EMIT, short for Earth Surface Mineral Dust Source Investigation, is an imaging spectrometer developed by NASA's JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California. The mission fills a crucial need among climate scientists for more detailed information on surface mineral deposition. Composition, not deposition. Big difference. Surveying Earth, well, subtle difference. Surveying Earth's surface from about 250 miles above, EMIT scans broad areas that would be impossible for a geologist on the ground or instruments carried by a spacecraft to survey. Yet it does this while achieving effectively the same level of detail. That's pretty awesome. But it's like, these are rock types. Kaolite,
Yeah, that's really neat.
hematite. What is it? Geotite? It basically has like a little, what do they call that? A key?
A key or a legend.
Yeah. And it maps 3 different types of rock or minerals. 3 minerals are among the 10 key substances the mission studied that are thought to influence climate change. That's interesting. I don't get it, but okay. I mean, a lot is in that desert right there, you know?
Right. I mean, much more than I might expect.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So scientists have long known that airborne mineral dust affects the climate. They know that darker iron oxide rich substances absorbs the sun's energy and warm the surrounding air, while non-iron based brighter substances reflect the light and heat, cooling the air. Whether those effects have a net warming or cooling impact, however, has remained uncertain. Researchers have an idea of how dust travels through the atmosphere, but the missing piece has been the composition, the color, essentially, of the surface of the places dust typically originates, which until now was derived from fewer than 5,000 sample sites around the world. Based on billions of samples, EMIT's maps offer much more detail. Wow. That is quite the shift.
Exactly. It's like little spots of data, and then you've got this, which is extremely detailed for worldwide.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty amazing, huh? 5,000 samples was the original from around the world.
And now this is billions of samples.
That's amazing.
That's a pretty significant increase in information.
Yeah, this is the type of science that, moves the needle. Beyond harnessing EMIT. I was reading EMIT as I was reading harnessing. Beyond harnessing EMIT's mineral data to improve Earth climate modeling, scientists can use the information to study dust's impact on the ecosystems where it lands. There's strong evidence that particles settling in the ocean can spur phytoplankton blooms, which can have the implications of aquatic ecosystems and the planet's carbon cycle. So we've seen these phytoplankton blooms that have actually ended up harming wildlife. Well, sea life. This is pretty amazing. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of jump off of this article, and I'm going to encourage you to go and check it out. They always do a deep dive, and I hope that I did enough justice to tease you into going and checking it all out. I love this stuff, but I'm going to try and go on to the next article. And maybe we'll have to revisit this. Maybe
I'm sure it'll be in the. Don't you think as they start using these maps, there's going to be additional discoveries? I suspect we'll see more articles about this.
Yeah, because I'm curious. It says it's the first global maps of hematite, geotite, and kaolinite or colinite, maybe. But I'm really curious. Are these released to everybody? Or were these released now, but others received them prior? If you're looking for mineral deposits so that you can invest in the right land.
Well, the data was through November 2023, so I think that tells us.
Yeah, but who got it? This is a month later. So who may have...
Right, but it's pretty current.
Yeah, but who got it first? Did anybody have this? I mean, is this actionable in terms of real estate, property value, mineral resource acquisition?
I'm sure.
I mean, it's not just... maybe Earth's surface minerals, but if it is relevant, You know, it could just, if there is something else that it detects, it says 10, there's 10 total, 3 minerals and 7 others that may affect climate. What are the 7? What I'm saying is this relevant to a point where it can change the value of acquisition? Because I think that we use this now, satellite technology, to see subsurface, like what something is. Not everybody is benefiting. It isn't a level playing field. And I always feel like, everybody is equal except if billionaires. It's basically what I'm saying. I mean, call me cranky, but I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and nor did my family parlay wartime activities into an estate that allows me to sit there and just arbitrarily buy never mind. I guess I'm jaded and cynical again. Let's keep going though. Got one more article. This article is over in Hedge Ideas, how ChatGPT saved me over $100,000. Delve into how ChatGPT can save over $100,000 and find out what you can do about copyright issues on AI generated content. So I had already seen this article in this video. Ben, I think it's Angle, put this article together. It's over at entrepreneur.com. And this video here goes into how this business owner used ChatGPT across the board to benefit him and his company, because when the pandemic happened, he basically had to downsize, and it impacted him in content creation and in marketing and in legal and several other areas. And they use ChatGPT to fill the gap in their knowledge and acquire new knowledge, as well as output wholesale a new product, their book called The Wolf is at the Door, as an editor for their writing. They didn't write the book with ChatGPT, but they used it as an editor. And I found it really interesting. You'll have to go through the whole thing. I listened to it, and when I loaded everything up, it started playing again, so it got 5 minutes into it. But it's a very fascinating story about using ChatGPT. And when they did their accounting, they basically came up to $100,000 worth of value using ChatGPT. And I agree. I think that it's an invaluable solution, particularly if you're a one-man shop or one-person shop, pardon me. A one-person shop, one-stop shop, because you can lean into it. You can tell it it's a subject matter expert in this, and you can feed it some information, and it will spit out some information. Granted, I think most of it is BS, and you have to do some due diligence to verify, trust, but verify. But I thought it was a fun article, and so I wanted to include it here.
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't seen the video, but the headline is certainly intriguing.
Yeah, so let me see if I can find... I'm going to mute it, but... so they did things like massive lists of how to market. It did analysis. It edited his book and provided other legal solutions. I don't recall them going into too much detail about the legal aspects of it. But right now, what they say in the video, if I recall correctly, was that copyright issues around AI generated content is basically because nothing that's wholly created by ChatGPT or an AI can be copyrighted, but you can use that information and create something that is bound by the human, and justifiably say, no, this was created by a human. Come on, go away. There we go. So you're basically going to be utilizing ChatGPT as a whole host of solution provider, instead of having to hire a human being and worry about any, like I have programmers that I lean into from time to time to provide a solution, but I have to work around their time frame. I have to work around their skill set. I have to cope with their idiosyncrasies, whatever it might be. Luckily, everybody that I've worked with has been pretty damn awesome, but not everybody gets that kind of experience. There was one programmer way back when I first got started as a consultant, who I went to hire to build a website for me because my opportunity cost is different, and my skill set is different. And they took my idea. They said, thanks for the idea, and tried to run with it. Now, they couldn't do what I wanted them to do to begin with, so I wasn't too worried about it. And the project never even took off, really. But yeah, it's quite fascinating what ChatGPT can do. And for the most part, it's confidential until something shows up later on the horizon, right? Like if I do something on AI and it's a strategic advantage to the business, or a trade secret, right? A business secret. I operate this and I bring something to market. The moment that somebody comes out of the woodwork with an identical process, and I can deduce that it came from AI, right? My data was embedded in an AI somewhere.
Right.
It's almost impossible to prove, but it's one of those things like, well, I had that idea and I made something out of it, and now I've got somebody else that's a direct competitor. Like there's a company that's named after my company right now in another country, but because of the internet, we brush up against each other periodically. So it's quite fascinating that IP generated by a bot can't be protected, just like an idea. But I think that is going to change over time. Anyway, this is a fun watch, and I urge you to go and watch it. You'll come away basically going, well, this guy seems pretty cool with it. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. And he is actually showing the stuff that he is generating using various solutions, various AI-based tools. And that's it. All right. At any rate, that's it for today. Everybody get back into the party bus, the ohmTown news bus, I guess you want to call it. And we end up back on Main Street, back at the welcome sign. I would normally refresh this, but I'm actually going to save this just like this.
Don't refresh it today.
Oh yeah, today's kind of a hot mess because we are, if I hit this, it'll pull us out of our time machine. And yeah, we don't want that. So that is ohmTown episode season 2, episode 356 for December 22nd, 2023. I am Mayor Watt. That is ohmTown.com, and up there is the visualizer for the sentient AI from on high. You want to say bye?
Bye-bye, ohmTown citizens. We will see you for the December 23rd show.
Time is just zipping by. It's amazing.
It is.
It's like we were on the 21st just an hour and a half ago. It's amazing. See you, everybody. See you tomorrow in about 15 minutes. Bye.